we look at the first technique, we're working off of the left, right, left. So my partner goes left, right, left. Remember, if you pull and then you get that hit, you get that time separation to set up the standard wrist lock. That standard wrist lock is only meant to create the position so that now you can switch to the inverted arm bar, lock that in, and then if you really want to take down, but we can stop from here right now. Okay, so all of that is possible because you started the time separation for the block check counter. So the essence of flow isn't necessarily completing each technique individually. It's for the greater picture to allow us to get there with the margin of error and to be able to lock it in where I'm playing catch up, right? So if I narrate this, the block check counter, I'm more worried about my face. I'm worried about my eyes. I'm worried about my balance. I'm not worried about him holding onto my wrist. That gives him time to transition. And now he's ragdolling me here. So now I'm focusing on the pain of the wrist lock. By the time I get here, Guru's already thinking about the inverted arm bar. So it's a little too late for me now. And even if I wanted to fight out of this, I'm pretty stuck. There are ways you can fight out of it, but the amount of pressure you can put on me is pretty tremendous here, okay? So do that again. I'll just flow it now. Okay, so from here, ragdolls me, automatically drops the weight and locks me in here, okay? And so that's what we talk about with the basic of flow. We could use different techniques. The more that we memorize techniques and the more that we have tools and things of that nature and how to get from one place to the other. But ultimately, it's understanding the timing of it, the timing of the application to make it all work. Okay, because again, if you just wanted to wrist lock me and he didn't do the block check counter, I'm not going to let him wrist lock me. I won't even let him grab my hand. If he wanted to inverted arm bar me, let's say even he grabbed it, I'm not going to let him bend my arm. I'm just going to keep it stiff, right? So the standard wrist lock causes that bend already. And then the fact that you can grab onto the meat of my thumb happened because he hit me in the face from the block check counter, right? So then we look at it the same way, but now we're doing right, left, right. So now I want him to fear from this hammer fist. I want him to see it so he grabs it, okay? So when he grabs it, I can sneak my hand in right away, and then I can cause that inverted arm bar. Now right now I have the perfect position, but sometimes what happens is the arm is too straight. So if I try to apply it, it doesn't work. So if we work from that again, right, left, right, I might pull him and push him, give him his arm back. If he wants to keep his arm straight, no problem. I pull, I push it, give his arm back, elbow comes on top, I drop my elbow, there's the inverted arm bar, okay? If I wiggle enough, I'll find it, but if I wiggle too much, I'll lose the window of opportunity because now he's gonna start to catch up, right? So luckily for me, even if he does catch up, his remedy to this is to straighten out his hand. So if he straightens out his hand, I'm gonna go with it, I'm gonna pull him and bump him with my hip, I'm going to turn and I'm going to do an outside arm bar now. I maintain the position. I use my lats and the outside of my shoulder to push it down. Notice how my right foot went in front here. So when I start applying my weight down like this and I'm lifting it up, I want to have good base so he can't target and throw me with them, right? Okay, because one of the follows from here is if I were to take him down, I just keep going with it, or I sweep his base and then he'd be on his stomach. If he didn't want that, then he would go to his stomach fast enough that he can roll, and then I would fall with him too. So this base where I'm sitting on him allows me to keep this armbar pressure without falling him to the ground. Okay? And then once again, if we flow that, now if I get this really good, I drop it down right away, and that's terrible for him. I come over here, shoot it out, pull him, and then I turn. There's always being one step ahead. To the point that the amount of steps ahead I am to my partner or to my opponent, it's so far that even if he knew what I was doing, he couldn't stop it anymore, right? So at that point, let's say I take him down, and then I take his back, or I mount him, and then now he's pinned down. So maybe the pain isn't that much anymore, but it's solidified. You can't move anymore. You're detained, right? So even if you knew what I was doing, you know I'm sitting on it, you can't do anything about it, right? If I armbar you, you can't do anything about it because maybe my base is intact and you can't move anymore, or it's too painful for you to try to resist. But off the get-go from the very beginning, you can resist it if we were on the same page, right? I did a block count like this, and he grabs it, and I went to go here, he can let go of his arm. Or maybe he pulls my arm down and he arm drags me. Like, it depends on how much he knows and how well he understands the timing. And that's why we always go by every counter as a counter. The way that your techniques work isn't just hypothetical. Hypothetically, I can do anything to anyone. It's having the prerequisites met or created. With aggression, with timing, with certain angles, knowing this person probably is more susceptible to this kind of lock versus that kind of lock. You can't know it all, but through a lot of training with different partners and training in general, sparring and things of that nature, you start to get the sense of, okay, people from this kind of build, this kind of experience level, this is generally their strengths and weaknesses. That's why your sensitivity as well is so important. You can feel if this armbar is going to work, if you can obtain it. You can feel if this wrist lock is good enough or maybe you have to put a little bit more in the wrist lock or ditch it completely. You make these decisions on the fly. But the easier it is to transition, the more likely that it's going to be successful and you'll survive. And then eventually survival turns into domination. Or I should say preservation turns into domination. Does that make sense? Yes, sir?
Yes, sir.